Really finding creative solutions, applying your skills and tools to solve a problem is art. It's the creative application of skills. That's really sort of the definition of art, I think. And there's a lot of opportunity for that in engineering. I see it every day. I think my background in music helps me appreciate that. The many opportunities there are. Engineers are spending a lot of their time doing creative stuff.
Welcome to the episode 2 of The Artful Engineer. Today we're lucky to have Jim Hackroth. He is an application engineer at Silicon Labs. Jim Hackroth is a singer, songwriter, musician, and engineer based in Austin, Texas. Is that how you sort of think of yourself, who you are, what you do?
During the day, I make my living as an engineer, and I spend most of my time thinking about engineering stuff, and music is my hobby, and a serious one at that. But yeah, I spend most of my time doing engineering work, and so I should mention, family member in my mind. I'm probably a family member and an engineer and a musician. So
every child, when you're growing up, there's a moment in life that you suddenly realize, this is what I want to do with my life, or this is what I really love. Tell me the moment when you thought in your life that you knew you loved music.
When I was in 4th grade, I think, the first couple Beatles albums were out, and I loved those, and I liked, Frank Sinatra was on the radio singing Fly Me to the Moon and Summer Wind. But when I heard the Beatles' Ticket to Ride, I said, I've got to play guitar. I've got to learn to play the guitar. And so I did. I started taking guitar lessons, and 7th grade was in a little band, and our parents would drive us in the station wagon to the roller rink where we actually had a gig, and by 9th grade it was more serious bands, and we were playing at the high school dances and the church dances, and then I heard Led Zeppelin 1 and decided I had to be a hot dog lead guitar player like Jimmy Page,
Baby, I can hear you talking when you whisper on the phone, and I know where you're going when you're walking out alone.
Last time you and I chat, you told me that while I'm growing up, math and science came always easy to me. And I said, what? Really? I mean, it's like math and science never was easy to me when I was growing up. So tell me more.
So for me, I had trouble memorizing or remembering dates and names, and, so history, I would study and still not score very well on my test because I just couldn't remember that stuff. But math and science seemed different somehow, if there was a mathematical concept, it seemed like once you grasped it and understood it, that's just the way things were. Not like you had to memorize. It was the next time it came up, I know how that works. It's like this. That's just the way it is. And math. I liked mathematical proofs and geometry and algebra and calculus. It all seemed like puzzles. Like it was kind of a game. It was fun.
Given that's been the trajectory, you actually never really thought about majoring in music. When you graduated from high school, thinking about what to major in college, EE was always the top of your list?
No, not really. Of course, I wanted to be a rock star, but I realized even then there's probably not a lot of openings for that kind of position. And so I didn't have a good feel for, if you don't get to be a rock star, what do you do with music?
What's the point?
And again, math was my kind of easy subject. So I started out, I think, as a freshman as a math major, but I switched into engineering because it seemed like there was more opportunities there, and it was still math and science related. Mm-hmm. So yeah. that was my path.
Yeah. So when you're finishing up school, getting the degree in EE, what was your expectation? What, kind of engineer were you thinking about, you're envisioning to become? I thought it was quite funny that when you said that you thought that, I might be able to get a job at the Fender or someplace.
Yeah, that was my hope. I thought, see, if I'm not studying music, I'll do the engineering side of music. And I did interview with some musical instrument companies and some companies that were making professional audio equipment, and I had some offers in that area, but I ended up taking my first job in Dallas with a contractor company that was doing narrowband speech processing, and I thought that's audio related in a way, and I didn't know much about DSP, so I started on my master's degree part time when I started that first job, and focused on digital signal processing and got my MSEE within a couple of years there of starting. And it was it was sort of audio related stuff, and I learned a lot about digital signal processing, and that proved useful for me later on.
Tell me, so you work at Silicon Labs. Tell me what you do at Silicon Labs today.
So I'm I guess my title is Senior Staff Applications Engineer, and I do a lot of the things that are traditional semiconductor application stuff, and a lot of things that are maybe considered more systems engineering. For the last couple of years, I've been involved in product definition for some new isolation products for automotive. And so I'm working very closely with a senior product marketing guy and a senior IC design architect. And my role is to write technical product requirements that'll be implemented by the IC designers. And that's a collaborative effort with a whole team really of really talented guys, and so it's been a lot of fun.
Do a lot of people at Silicon Labs know that you are a singer-songwriter? Are you famous at Silicon Labs?
I'm not famous, but a lot of people know because I've been invited to play on a number of occasions before the quarterly company-wide meetings. So before the CEO speaks, I'm playing an acoustic set while people are coming in and getting ready and stuff. And I guess also I've played with a full band on a couple of occasions at Silicon Labs events. So a lot of my colleagues have seen me play, before the company meeting.
She fills a room with laughter. She dries away my tears with her heart full of wonder. She melts away my fears, and she knows my insecurities.
Okay, so now I'm trying to connect the dots between music and engineering. In your career as a Mr. Engineer, as an engineer, do you think that any of your music acumen helped your engineering job at all?
Yeah, in some ways, it's interesting. I've heard that music performance is good for your brain because it exercises your brain in some way. I don't know how true this is, but that you have to think in the present time and also in the future. So you're thinking in two time dimensions at the same time, and that's certainly true. I mean, you're playing. I might be singing and playing, and I'm also thinking about what chord comes next or what's the same. So I'm here in the present, have to focus on that, but I'm also thinking in advance about what's coming next. And that's a skill that applies. If you're giving a technical presentation or even speaking in a meeting, So the same kind of thing is true. So I think my performance background certainly helps me when I'm giving a presentation, with my self-confidence and also with this just being able to think on my feet like that. There's also a collaboration aspect to playing in a band where, the really good players, when they're playing, they're not really listening to themselves as much as they are listening to the whole sound, and they're not thinking, what's the coolest, most impressive thing I could play right now. They're thinking, what's the best thing I could add, to the whole sound. And sometimes that means stepping up front, and sometimes it means laying back and adding some little bitty part because that's what the song needs. And in technical meetings or a collaborative engineering environment, it's kind of the same thing. you're better off listening really carefully to everybody else and then figuring out what it is that you can contribute.
Actually, during this recording session, I thought that I might ask you to demonstrate what you call looper pedals. Can you explain what it is, and then maybe show us what it is and what it does, and
Yeah.
maybe play a song or two for us?
Sure, sure. So a looper pedal is an interesting tool for a musician, and it's kind of an interesting engineering thing as well. A looper pedal is it's basically, from an engineering perspective, it's like an A to D converter and some RAM and a D to A converter with a lot of control around it. So the idea is that you can record a phrase, some length of music while you're playing, and then you can choose to play that back either as a one-shot loop at will, or you can one-shot playback, or you can loop it. So it's like you make the RAM a circular buffer and you allow the thing to play over and over again. And so as a musician, I can, if a song has a particular repeating vamp, I can just record that at the beginning of the song and then let it play back throughout the song if I want, or just when I'm taking a solo. If the song has more of a verse-chorus structure or something, maybe when I'm singing the first verse, I'll hit record on the looper pedal, and then when the verse is over, I'll stop it. Later, if I want to take a solo, I can play that back and take a solo on top of it, and that can be a lot of fun too. All right, so we'll start. We'll start with this bass riff. Now we'll record a second loop for the B part. Now we can add a little guitar. And we could sing on top of that. Another late night call, talking to your telephone, but it's good to hear your voice. Leave my message at your tone. No, there's nothing new to say.
You also describe yourself a singer-songwriter. Now, which part do you like, singing or developing lyrics? Or tell me a little bit more about, songwriter part of the business here.
Yeah, so the singing for me is like guitar playing. The voice is like an instrument, and it's something that I work on and hope to get better at. The songwriting is sort of different aspect, and songwriting, I wanted to have some songs that were mine to record and play, and it's kind of been a fun adventure. And a song is an adventure. The idea for a song can come from anywhere. You could start with a melody that you thought up, or and you keep playing it over and over until some lyrics pop into your head, or some concept, or it could be some topic that you want to write about, or maybe a phrase that you heard somebody say that you thought, oh, that's an interesting phrase, or maybe even a word, that you like and want to expand on, and you don't know where they're going. A song, it starts someplace, and you kind of follow it along, and you run into roadblocks and figure out some path to take, and they take on a life of their own sometimes, and even after they're finished, you think they're finished and you've recorded it, and a year later you think, oh, I should have done this, or I should change this line, and they continue to evolve and grow over time, sort of like whispers in the dark, your hand reaching out for mine, these memories in my heart are unaware of time. But nothing escapes change. There's no holding on. And I don't know how to stop thinking about you. I don't know how to leave without you. I don't know who I'm supposed to be when I'm not part of you and me. And I've never known a love so strong. I don't know where the time is gone. All I know is I ache. I just ache with missing you. All I know is I ache with missing you. All I know, all I know is I ache with missing you.
Thank you so much, Jim. This was a lot of fun. And and good luck with your music career as well as engineering career.